This week on My Time to Talk,
said, can't you wear a suit? It's like, what's it had? Elon Musk in the Oval Office with his child on his head without a suit on. You know, why wasn't that mentioned before?
You know what I mean? So in her quest to try and, be up the bottoms of white supremacists, she's made a big old faux pas that somebody with her kind of education you just
Should have known better.
Literally, she really should have known better. But didn't they say that they're all law-abiding citizens? And this guy's got how many misdemeanors and this and that and this and that, so they're clearly not. Do you know what I mean?
You know, like we was talking about grandparents and how they've affected our lives or not affected our lives. We've got a whole generation that probably has never spoken to a grandparent. It's my time to talk. I mean, we haven't even been here for a while. But we're gonna proceed with today's edition. So today we're gonna talk the talk. We're missing a member, but we're going to proceed. So here we go. Today we're going to talk about the Trump session. I mean, have we heard anything from Trump? I think so. Every day that he's been in power, and I've got to say power, not even in office, in power, we've heard something that Trump has said or done, or what is the 4 years going to bring for us? You know what I mean? Like, what are we going to do, like, in year 2 or something? It makes you wonder.
Hopefully it won't make it to year 2. I'm hoping it'll be done by year 1. But we shall see, I suppose. But yeah, I think looking at the thing that happened with Zelensky the other day, it just goes to show that he's definitely what I would say a megalomaniac. Do you know what I mean? Instead of megalomaniac, my little pun name. Yeah, it's getting beyond joke. Like, him and Vance literally didn't even let, and I'm not even for Zelensky, don't get me wrong, but he was the only person that showed an ounce of diplomacy in that meeting there. It was just absolutely ridiculous, and it just smacked of, this is like a TV show, like that's how this dude's running it, is like, this is just for telly, like he's looking for the sound bites, he wants all the media there, he don't want anybody else to talk, he just wants to be able to talk himself, do you know what I mean? So every time Zelensky is trying to get a word in edgeways, it's all talking about, oh, you're not thankful, you're not grateful, you're not this, you're not that. Like, he's just wanted him to lick his ass.
One time he did say, this is going to make good television.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm saying. It's like all about the sound bites, isn't it? Like, so yeah, between him and Vance, it was absolutely ridiculous.
And the person that said, sorry.
No, go on.
The person that said, in one of the reporters, said, can't you wear a suit? It's like, what's it had? Elon Musk in the Oval Office with his child on his head without a suit on. You know, why wasn't that mentioned before? Do you know what I mean? Like, you're saying, I have no allegiance to Zelensky, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, let's play fair. You know, like, let's not try and ridicule another person that runs another country. He's not your boy. He's not your person that you can tell what to do because you are helping him. Because that isn't the case. If he's in the United Nations, isn't he? Zelensky. Yeah. Well, even if he's not, there is the United Nations thing to be thinking about, that we are supposed to help each other in war situations, and we're not allowed to just make somebody have to take everything that Putin has said. There's a dictator. And as I said, it's not that he's probably not a dictator, but reprimanding somebody in front of many countries is very dictatorish, you know. So, like, look, when you're pointing your finger, Mr. Trump, make sure that the other three fingers aren't pointing towards you.
He doesn't care though, does he? He literally doesn't care. Like, I think they've cut their funding now to Ukraine, and this is the thing with Trump. He's going to get this, like, it's like you're in a juxtaposition, because there's certain things, obviously I agree, there's been a lot of money that's been sent to Ukraine, do you know what I mean, a hell of a lot of money, and we've talked about it, like, from a British standpoint before. Like, there's billions and billions going to Ukraine, and then we've got people here that can't eat, do you know what I mean? You've got people that are standing on the traffic lights all the time looking for money, do you know what I mean? And yet they're telling us that this country's got no money, but when we'll be sending billions to Ukraine, we're sending billions to this country, billions to that country. It's like, what is going on? Do you know what I mean? So I like, this is the thing with him. He will make like a good point, but then it's like you don't even want to say, "Oh my gosh,
I agree with you."
Do you know what I mean? But in certain points, yeah. And then obviously, what you don't agree with, you can't be ridiculing people in front. Like, this looked like a meeting that should have been behind closed doors.
Exactly.
Literally, like, even Vance, I think at one point was like, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't be like
talking about this together."
No, they need to see this. They need to see this.
This
like,
makes
this is
a
what
good
he
television.
wants. Yeah, this is exactly what he wants, because as far as he's concerned, it's making him like look like the big guy type thing. But to me, he looked ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think the only person that did come off well was Zelensky. Even to the point where they said he left afterwards. You just seen his car kind of zooming up afterwards. Then he went on his apology tour on Twitter and was like, "Thank you to this leader, thank you." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's like his petty levels was
as
on
soon as he
100
came
by then.
to England,
Yeah,
it was
by
like,
the time he
I
left.
did say thank you, didn't I?
Thank you. Do you know what I mean? So he's just highlighting how petty this dude is being, basically. Which I was like, well, you can't say nothing to that, really, can you? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. Crazy. But talking of Elon, there have been some anti-Elon cuts going on, not cuts, anti-Elon protests going on at his Tesla dealerships in America.
That people stopped buying them.
Yeah, so like I haven't seen it on the news, but I've just found an article on it. So it's people basically protests have erupted outside Tesla stores across the United States as demonstrators speak out against CEO Elon Musk and his advocacy for government spending cuts in collaboration with Trump, because obviously they are like cutting, it's like medical care, like all of that type of stuff. You're seeing all of these people on drugs just now out in the streets because there were certain like clinics that they could go to.
That would be free.
Yeah, and sexual health clinics as well. And these people had no idea. They were still turning up, expecting to be able to get their drugs or whatever it was. And they were turned away, do you know what I mean? Because the funding, and it's literally like it's happening as it's happening, basically. So there was no, it's going to happen in a couple of months. It's like as soon as he said it's kind of happening.
But isn't that the same one that he told, was it the DTI? That they better find 5 things and send it to him that they've done in the week, otherwise they're going to be sacked.
Oh wow, no, I didn't even hear that.
And he says he wants them bullet pointed by the end of the week, about 5 things, because he thinks that there's a load of people in that scenario that's not doing anything.
But it's just ridiculous.
And it's like, why have you got the chance to run a country when nobody voted you in?
Well,
I don't remember anybody voting him in. You know what I mean?
This is what I'm saying. When you think it's that, what's the nepotism of it all, do you know what I mean? So, you know, if you've got money and you've paid to have your say, basically. So with the amount of money that Elon's given, and you could see Trump was vexed when he was in there, when Elon was in there with his son, but he can't say anything. Do you know what I mean? He can't treat Elon the way that he's treated Zelensky, because with Zelensky, he's the one with the
needing
the money, exactly.
You
need the funding, exactly. But with the Trump situation, Trump is Zelensky in the Elon situation. He needs the funding of Elon, so there's only so much that he can say, and then, you know, Elon knows that he's just literally making a mockery of it, literally. So yeah, absolutely crazy. But yeah, I was glad to see that when I saw the thing. I don't know what kind of effect it will have, to be honest, but you know, it's another one of those, if you don't do anything, then you know, they can just say that you were happy with it, can't they? At least there's something documented to say, nah, you know what I mean, we weren't happy with that, we weren't down with that, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I applaud them, definitely.
But actually, I mean, like, the voters have now got to that stage where, you know, why did we do this? And it's like, you know, like, you didn't probably have a big choice in who to vote in. That's true, but you can't start letting him get away with everything. Otherwise, don't forget, he's got all the money in the world to do whatever he wants. Do you know what I mean? When you're down and out, like they've said, you know, all them people that have been deported recently, almost immediately, are people that might have even voted for him. And doesn't that really shame a lot of Americans? You know what I mean? Like, everybody's had to, the Canadians has had to have a let's not support America. Who else? You know, like the French are not very happy.
Well, the Venezuelans as well. They were there for all vote for Trump, and then the same woman that was screaming vote for Trump. Was it?
Yeah, the Cubans.
Was suddenly like, oh no, he's let us down. He's like, we have to leave. It's like, what? Like, you know, more for you for believing that nonsense. Do you know what I mean? It's the same with the blacks for Trump. You know what I mean? Like,
now you're back in Jamaica.
Yeah, like you're disillusioned.
Or you're back in
exactly.
what's it, Cuba?
Do you know what I mean?
Or,
exactly,
you know,
because they realise now, okay, he's not for us. Do you know what I mean? Like, he just used them to get the votes, like they all do anyway. But yeah, literally, that just made me laugh, I have to say, because it's like, oh well, you fell for it. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, did you see that January 6th insurrectioner guy got killed by the police?
No.
So one of the pardoned January 6th insurrectioners, you know,
the one that
ones
done
that thingy, yeah, there was a load of them. So as soon as Trump came into power, he pardoned all of them and let them all out. So one of them was caught was speeding, doing 55 and a 30 or something, and the police stopped him. They've said, like, the policeman has said to him, like, you know, what are you doing, blah, blah, blah. And the guy's kind of pleading, to me, it looked like he was pleading solidarity. He even says, like, oh, I'm one of the pardoned January 6ers.
So I can get away with it.
Do you know what I mean? That's what it kind of smacked of, literally. And the policeman's like, oh, okay, right, okay. And he was like, oh, yeah, so basically I can't get, you know, done for this again. And he's like, okay, well, we'll have a look. And then when he's looked at his record, he was like, oh, but this isn't your only other offence though. You've got other speeding offences, you've got other driving offences. And the guy's like, yeah. So he's like, you're gonna have to get out of the vehicle. So the guy's got out of the vehicle. And that's when he was like, so what are you going to do? And he's like, I'm going to have to take you in, because this isn't like a misdemeanor anymore. Like, this is, you know, this is getting serious. Like, this isn't your first time doing this, so I am going to have to bring you in. The guy has got back in his car, which that alone, like, because even that to begin with, actually, he was like, oh, can I just grab this and grab that? And now to think, like, knowing this,
some people would have been shot.
They would have been shot from then, wouldn't they? As soon as he's like took his glasses off and he's put it on the dash and he's gone to the side to go and grab something, and the guy's just let him do all of that. Gun? Exactly, that's exactly what I was thinking at the time. So anyway, he's ran back into the car, saying he's gonna off himself. So he did have a gun in there, yeah. So he's gone to grab the gun, saying that he was going to shoot himself, but the police has ended up shooting him, killed him to death. Yeah. So yeah, I was like, "What? Isn't that poetic
goodness.
justice?" Do you know what I mean? Like,
so you
I think,
died anyway.
literally, like, but didn't they say that they're all law-abiding citizens? And this guy's got how many misdemeanors and this and that and this and that. So they're clearly not. Do you know what I mean?
And now they thought that they've got a pardon for life.
Yeah, that's it. It just gave them
be
like
even worse for
entitlement.
them,
That's what I
isn't it?
said. It's like his entitlement badge has run out. Do you know what I mean? Like, literally, you could tell he was looking at the policeman as if to say, just let me off. Do you know what I mean? Like, the president don't care, so just let me off type thing. And obviously the guy's just doing his job. Thankfully, he's just, you know.
Oh, the president is a criminal as well, remember?
Well, yeah, exactly, that's it. But that's what he's thinking while you're working for the government. So
Yeah,
just
and that means
the government let me off. So you should just let me off then, innit? That was the kind of entitlement it kind of looked like, do you know what I mean? And obviously the policeman's like, fearing that he's gonna shoot him, I presume, because he did say I'm going into my car to go and shoot myself. So
Oh my God.
literally the policeman's just opened fire apparently. So this was, I think, at the beginning of the year, but they've just released the
talk about it.
the body cam footage of it yesterday or the day before yesterday. So yeah, I just thought all of them things that, white people say to black people, why didn't you just comply? And, all of those kind of sayings was ringing in my ear at the time. So yeah.
And we've had the same type of release going on as well in England. Like they've been releasing prisoners who's done part-time, and we've talked about this before, that you can release a prisoner because he was carrying a knife, but the chances are the real crime was that he was going to stab somebody or get into some domestic thing, and you've just let him out because he was only in there for carrying a knife. So there is people, and women especially, that's going to be out there thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because they've let him out, you know what I mean? Or they've let her out, because we're not being sexist here. Do you know what I mean? So, like, the same way that, as you says, Trump let them out without regard to the fact of what they might have done when they went into the play.
When they went to the
city, capital city, Capitol Hill. Sorry, like you still haven't addressed the fact that there were people in Capitol Hill that was frightened. They were so frightened of. They were still in a room or in a hall or something, covering themselves because these people were.
They were wanting to
they
harm
were
them. In
mental and out to get anybody that they, and was some of the people they actually named that they were looking for, and those people has never had sort of like compensation or redress from the fact, so yes, they've done a crime that you see as not so bad. But you don't know what the other thing is that that they could have done before that somebody is probably glad that they're in prison. Do you know what I mean? They're probably glad that they're actually in prison because at least they'll get a respite for a little while. And now you've let them out. You know what I mean? You've let them out and given them half a sentence. And they've probably really done something worse than you actually know, that you actually put them in for.
They didn't get caught for. Yeah, it's true. A lot of them times, the crime that they got caught for is less than the crimes that they've gotten away with. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Because if you're going to be in that position that you've gone to Capitol Hill on that sort of basis, then you are a criminal. I'm sorry, you are a criminal, because I wouldn't think about running into 10 Downing Street, and there's loads of things that in the past that I've thought, wow, this isn't very fair or something, but I have to think that I've got family, I've got children, I've got grandchildren even now. You know what I mean? I can't be being irresponsible just for the hell of it when we've got a democratic system going on in the country. We don't take the law in our own hands, and then the president allows, or the prime minister allows people to leave, after they've done an addressed criminal, a crime, sorry. You know what I mean? Like, I do think that it needs looking at. It really does.
Yeah, definitely. And then just closer to home, I have to mention Suella Braveman.
Oh, yes.
Doing a whole little article on how she's British Asian, but she's not English. It just made me laugh. Like I was saying to you yesterday about Shola's breakdown. Like she did a fantastic breakdown on how literally misguided Suella is in her statement that she's not English, because as she said, we live in England, and the last time we checked, Great Britain was made up of England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland. Do you know what I mean? And she's not from any of them, so therefore default is you are English. Do you know what I mean? So in her quest to try and be up the bottoms of white supremacists, she's made a big old faux pas that somebody with her kind of education you just
should have known better.
Literally, she really should have known better. But they just don't care. Do you know what I mean? Because those reformers with their 2 GCSEs will lap that up quick time. Do you know what I mean? Really? And they'll literally be like, "See, even they say they're not English." Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So. Yeah, like it's not something that I would be tooting my horn to say, "Oh yeah, I'm English." But fact of the matter is, I was born here. You know what I mean? So when I say I'm a black British person, then I actually am English as well, by default. Yeah. So, just had to mention that. It made me laugh. Anything else?
There is, well, the only other thing is that we was talking about yesterday was grandparents. Like we was talking about grandparents and how they've affected our lives or not affected our lives. We've got a whole generation that probably has never spoken to a grandparents, and we was thinking that if you have got a comment about grandparents that you'd like to actually share with us, that maybe that would be a good thing, so that other people, including ourselves, could see how people have addressed the fact of grandparenting and how grandparents have probably been your saviour in your actual life. If your grandparents wasn't there, you wouldn't have had the life that you've got now, or because your grandparents was there, you've got the life that you've got now.
I would definitely say my grandparents shaped a lot of the way I, behave and think. And, when they say you marry like a version of your dad, obviously I wasn't raised with my dad. And when I deeped it, I was like, I think I've married my granddad. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like in that sense, like he's very works with his hands. Do you know what I mean? Like, will do anything for his children in that sense, but probably just more loving. my husband definitely is, do you know what I mean? Because my granddad wasn't so much like that. But in terms of he definitely worked for his family, do you know what I mean?
He took his responsibilities.
Yeah, very seriously, definitely. So looking at it like that, he can be very stern, but as I said, the only difference I would say to my granddad is that he has the opposite kind of side to him. And then also my nan, being raised alongside with you with my nan, do you know what I mean? It's definitely shaped the kind of person that I am. I do see similarities in, you know what I mean? Again, similarities but differences, do you know what I mean? In our relationship as well. So I know that my relationship, the way that I live has definitely been shaped by, being raised around my grandparents. And I know that that would have been totally different if I wasn't. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously then it would have been, just because of my situation, it probably would have been more so outside child care that would have taken the place of that, which is, you know, you just don't learn about your culture, then you don't learn about, you know what I mean, your family dynamics. There's certain stories I would have heard about, you know what I mean, other people in the family that I wouldn't have heard from if I wasn't raised
And
around my
that
nan,
is,
do you know what I mean? So just
kinda
simple
like-
things like that.
Sorry, it's kind of like the same point, because like I'm first generation, or you know, first generation living or born in this country. We didn't get the chance to know either side of grandparenting, and was not grandparented, you know what I mean? And I'm sure there's plenty of other people in my generation that has no idea what their grandparent was like and how their grandparent felt about things, you know, how it would have affected us if they were allowed to come to England and see their grandchildren, or you know, we were given the money, because I would have to say we'd have to have been given the money, because we obviously didn't earn that sort of money to bring that many children, because there's 7 in our family, that to go back and see what our grandparent was actually like, or said, or done, or you know, I think I had one occasion where I met my grandmother.
But then you was an adult, weren't you?
But then I was an adult, so it's not growing up with her. I've already got my, I already had my established thinking about life. And so it would be interesting to see how it has affected or not affected, you know, I mean, people about their grandparents, you know, like grandparents are in a home now or something, and probably their children, I mean, like their parents, the child probably would have liked to keep the grandparents in the house instead of putting them in a home, and obviously it's not as easy as that, but you know, they probably know that their grandparents is somewhere, but they still don't know their grandparents either, and they're living in this country. So yeah, it'd be interesting to have some points of view if you've got the mind to. You know what I mean?
Right, well, that's our
Time to talk.
thinking, yeah. What would we call it? Like a compacted edition?
Compacted.
Tried to keep it beyond between the half an hour, 20 minutes, so yeah. Yeah, that's us. My time to talk.
My time to talk.
See you next time.
Subscribe, subscribe, and comment on this occasion.
Yes,
Okay.
on this occasion, we'll allow it.